There's fury in the tech world as employees of OpenAI threaten to quit en masse and join ousted CEO Sam Altman at his new job as a lead of an advanced AI research team at Microsoft. 90% of the company's 770 employees signed a letter threatening to leave unless the current board of directors resigned and reinstated Altman as head of OpenAI. One notable signatory was Ilya Sutskever, the company's chief scientist, and a member of OpenAI's board who voted to oust Altman last week. Reportedly, the employees wrote in their letter that the board's actions made it obvious that they were incapable of overseeing OpenAI.
Well, following the news of the potential AI mutiny, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella attempted to quell concerns from shareholders about a potential Altman exit. Both Nadella and Altman seemed open to the idea of a return to OpenAI. So this has been big news in the tech world for a couple days now. We're just getting to it today. But so Sam Altman is this kind of beloved visionary type figure, or seen as such in the tech world, the leader of OpenAI, which launched the ChatGPT and is very exciting for new technology in AI. Very suddenly on, I believe it was Friday, a few days ago, the board fired him. It was unclear why. They put out a statement that was extremely vague. Tech world exploded. I could see on social media just the fury from people I know who work in venture capital in the tech space were livid. Like this was like firing like Steve Jobs or something. So the actual employees of the company have now demanded accountability from the board. And I find that, and you might find that interesting from a labor perspective. This is kind of the shadowy head group, and the employees said no, absolutely not. Why did you do this? And you had a couple members of the board actually begging for mercy and forgiveness, saying, "I know I screwed up so badly. I regret doing this."
There's this Ilya Sutskever person who apparently voted to oust Altman and is now signing the letter saying we want him back.
Yeah.
It is very confusing to me. I mean, one of the interesting dynamics here is that typically you don't see lower level employees kind of throwing themselves on danger to protect the bosses. So I do wonder if this is something unique to tech culture and tech world, where so many people who I do think go work at companies do so because they want a relationship with, to learn from, to have a more kind of apprenticeship relationship with someone who is known as a genius in their field.
I could be wrong, but my perception is they think it was a colossal, boneheaded move for the company to fire him.
That he's just really good at what he does.
Needs him, and it would be insane to have somebody else in charge.
Well, why on earth? We were talking about this a little bit before we started recording. They don't seem to have offered very much. OpenAI, the board doesn't seem to have offered very much in the way of an explanation of why.
I saw a lot of people
Altman
making jokes, just jokes like, oh, they figured out that he was writing his board reports using ChatGPT or something. Yeah, so we have no idea, really. I saw people making jokes on social media. Someone saying that the board finally figured out that he was writing his board reports using ChatGPT. So a lot of that kind of stuff.
He's an everyman, you're saying?
Yeah, he's also, his name's Sam Altman, like he is the artificial intelligence.
He is the, all right. Those kind of theories aside, I mean, The Nation wrote this up. Everywhere you look, it's the same kind of scant details, but they did include what the statement from the board was. They said, Mr. Altman's departure follows a deliberative review process by the board, which concluded that he was not consistently candid in his communications with the board, hindering its ability to exercise its responsibilities. The board no longer has confidence in his ability to continue leading OpenAI.
Weak.
They use ChatGPT. What is that?
Nonsense.
There's no transparency about what it means to not be consistently candid in your communications.
They woke
with the
up
board.
on the wrong side of the
bed. What do
they
they think he's hiding?
Yeah.
Do they think he's about to go split and start his own company? Like what? It kind of has the essence of a betrayal of some kind there. But what evidence is there that he was working at cross purposes with the company?
Yeah, it sounds dumb. So people in the kind of techno-optimism, techno-futurism, those kinds of people hold Sam Altman out as a very important individual, and the research the work he's doing at OpenAI as being like Some people think this is like the most important research ever being done in the history of mankind.
They want to get out of writing their 10th grade essays that badly.
Well, yeah, wouldn't you? No, that this holds the potential for, we're creating artificial intelligence, artificial life, and all the ways that's going to improve if you're on the techno-optimistic side, or maybe cause the extinction of humanity if you're on the techno-pessimistic side. There is a big debate in tech circles between on how we should. So if you believe this technology is coming to fruition, is going to be as powerful soon as people of that way think, should we wait? Should there be a pause to put guardrails in, or to come up with like regulations? Of course, the issue there is there's not going to be international regulations, and China is proceeding apace with research into this, regardless of what we do. So it's like, well, then why would we pause ours if they're not pausing theirs? I lean in the techno-optimistic direction, so I'm kind of excited about the potential, the possibilities of AI. I haven't been overly impressed by it yet.
That's where I am. It's just not overly impressive. I mean, I have been speaking to some teachers that I know who are very frustrated because they're now in this layers of frustration where they have to download software that can search for AI, and the kids are racing to get better software that can beat that software, and there's this weird arms race where everyone's spending so much time trying to cheat and catch cheating, more time than could have been spent just writing the essay.
I have a solution to this problem.
Okay.
In-class essays.
So that's
no more take-home essays. Those were dumb anyway.
That's what they've largely done. The problem is that there's already limited in-class time for instruction. That's something that parents and teachers have been complaining about for a long time. Now that time is even more limited because your kid's sitting there writing in a blue book instead of getting taught anything.
Sure.
And so, there's this other option is just to stop requiring those kind of essays. If everyone's going to have advantage of AI when they go into their life, when they're writing their TPS reports or whatever at their job, maybe there's less of an emphasis on those kind of baseline writing skills, unless you want to be a creative writer, in which case you do more focused study.
Yeah, that's fine. I think even before the ChatGPT, obviously now it can just write the whole thing for you, which is an amazing cheat. But even before that, you get like a research paper or something, or a take-home. Maybe people are just Googling, the top 5. It's not
paraphrasing Wikipedia.
Yeah, you're basically that's not really demonstrating your mastery or your grasp of a subject anyway. So I think that whole trajectory was
I did a podcast episode of my podcast Bad Faith about this maybe about a month ago with Corey Robin, who has written a lot about this stuff and who also is a college level professor, but he has a high school daughter. And he thought, as a professor, he's like, I'm a smart guy. I can write prompts that can beat ChatGPT. Like, I can make it so sophisticated and require such a level of analysis that kids won't get around it. And then he tested his daughter. He said, answer this. This is a college level prompt. You're 15 or whatever. Answer this. And he was shocked that there is this collaborative process where you first put in the prompt. It doesn't give you a great answer. But then if your kid is insightful, they adjust the prompt and adjust it until it finally gets what the teacher is asking for. And I said, well, you can see that two ways. You can say, good, kudos to your daughter, she's smart, and that is actually fulfilling the assignment because she had to apply her analytical skills to get the answer that you wanted. Or you can say, this is rubbish and I don't want to do anything outside of an in-class essay. So we'll see where this goes.
And I mean, there's a lot of, benefit to having something write things for you, is going to provide for emails and things.
Yes.
Some people in the professional world with important jobs, but are not, gifted writers and not particularly skilled at communicating. Some people have impediments to communicating, and this can provide it for them. So there's a lot good that can be done.
Even as a lawyer, so much of document drafting was incredibly repetitive. You're looking at the last 5 interrogatories that your law firm filed, and you're changing the names, and there's so many similar kinds of cases that you're doing over and over and over again. A lot of it is copy-paste work, and then you go back in and you tweak what needs to be tweaked. But the human being doesn't need to do all of it. And for a long time in the legal profession, I think back when I was still a lawyer, the Second Circuit put some prohibitions on how much you could use AI for document review. Mm-hmm. So much of what firms bill for is getting junior associates to spend hours and hours of their day reviewing discovery documents for discovery requests. And it seemed like the court's decision there was to preserve the law firm's ability to like keep doing that and billing hours. But that's just not sustainable because frankly, junior associates make a lot of mistakes, arguably more mistakes than a well-trained piece of AI. So the world is changing quickly. Sam Altman's going to be at the center of it one way or the other. We'll see if he's doing it at Microsoft or back at OpenAI.
One day, maybe the AI can do our jobs, Brianna. And then we'll just sit back on the beach sipping Mai Tai somewhere. More Rising right after this.